Gentlemen, welcome to the Order of Man podcast. Whether you're new or you've been with us for any amount of time, what we're all about here is giving you the tools and resources, and with this podcast, the conversations that you need to thrive as a man in this very interesting world. So, today is your Friday Field Notes. You get to hear some of my ramblings, for better or worse. I get mixed reviews when I do Friday Field Notes. A bunch of you guys say, just do interviews because you want to hear from other people more than me. And I have other guys who say, I really like the Friday Field Notes. So whatever your preference is, you can either listen or wait until Tuesday when we have another great conversation on the podcast. But if you want to hear from me, here it is. I've got a quick one for you, but it's very, very important. I want to talk about belief. And more specific than that, I want to talk about the belief in yourself. Because I talk with men every day who are deflated and defeated and beat up and beating themselves up and not experiencing the results that they want in their lives. Their marriages are on the rocks. Their business is in shambles. They have no relationships. They have no outlets. They have zero confidence. They're putting it on the pounds and they're miserable. And I don't want you to be that way. Not only is it not a good look for society when they see thousands, hundreds of thousands of millions of men who are domesticated and beat up and lost and confused. And there's a lot of reasons for this. And we've been talking about it for the last 6 years we've been doing this. But the other reason is that you're not going to experience the results that you want. So I want to pose a question to you today. And the question is very simple, but I want you to spend some time really pondering and thinking about the answer to the question that I'll pose to you. And that is, how much do you believe in yourself? How much do you believe in yourself? Are you willing to invest in yourself? Are you willing to go the extra mile? Are you willing to take a risk? Are you willing to ask for a promotion? Willing to start a business? Willing to ask that woman on a date? Willing to go first when it comes to doing something hard or correcting your behavior, even in your marriage? Do you believe enough in yourself that you can change and you can improve your behavior, and hopefully that has a positive influence on the woman in your life and your children and other people that you interact with? Because if you don't have that belief, what's to lead you to doing anything different? Man, I want you to believe in yourself. Now, you might be saying, some of you anyways, these are from the guys that I get the messages from, might be saying, well, I don't have anything to believe in myself about. And I get that. I understand that. I've been there. And sometimes it's very difficult in the demanding environments in which we work and in the wake of maybe past failures for us to believe in ourselves enough to do something that's going to put us on a different path. But if you can't have just even an inkling of belief in yourself, you're not going to do anything different. So where does belief stem from? It stems from action. It stems from you doing something that you did not previously think yourself capable of. See, what a lot of guys will do is they'll just spend their time and spend their days doing the things that they've always done, hoping that they'll get some sort of different result. And of course, we know that that is not going to be the case. They're going to experience the same results. But we do that because it's comfortable. We're in a rut. We're looking for the path of least resistance. And then we get that thing done and we wonder why we don't feel better about where we are in life or better about ourselves. It's because you've already proven to yourself that you can do that you can operate at this level. You need to start to prove to yourself that you can operate at a higher level. And when you begin to do that, you'll develop more belief. And the beautiful thing about this is that if you're able to build up belief in yourself in one facet or one area of your life, it's naturally and inevitably going to improve other facets of your life. How could it not? How could it not be the case that if you went to the gym every single day for the next 30 days and you lost a little weight and you got stronger and you made sacrifices and you felt good about who you were becoming in the gym, how could that not improve the relationship with your wife? How could that not improve the relationship that you have with your clients? Even if it's just buried down in there somewhere in your subconscious, if you're more confident, you're going to exude that level of confidence to your clients, to the people that are closest to you. They're going to see that. They're going to be inspired by that. They're going to be influenced by that. If you start locking in your finances And I know a lot of you guys have finances that are just like brutal right now. I get it. I've been there. I'm not there now, fortunately, but it's taken years and years and almost a decade of me just getting my ass handed to me when it came to my finances before I realized I got to do something different. I've got to get this all dialed in. And how would it not improve your situation if you took a little time and jumped on masterclass or jumped on YouTube or listened to a bunch of podcasts or hired a financial advisor or did it yourself and you started dialing in your finances? How would it not improve the dynamic and the relationship that you have with your wife and your kids? Of course, because you're not going to be so focused and inundated with just thinking about how you're going to make the bills all the time. Instead, you're giving yourself the mental space to be able to engage more deeply and fully with the people that you care about. Just before I hit record on this podcast, my youngest son, he's 5 years old, came into my office and he said, "Dad, will you help me build a skateboard?" Because his older brother built a skateboard a couple of days ago. "Will you help me build a skateboard? We've been talking about it for the past couple of days." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll help you." And he said, "Do you promise you'll come out?" And I said, "Yeah, I promise I will come out." And that promise means a lot to me, and I want it to mean a lot to him. But I have the capacity to be able to do that, to be able to leave at, it'll be 3:30 in the afternoon and spend a couple hours or whatever it takes to build my 5-year-old son a skateboard because I've done these other things. I've got the finances locked down. I'm getting the fitness dialed in. I'm not perfect on these things, but I'm improving upon them. I'm learning how to communicate more effectively. And I believe in myself enough to create results, not only in that area of life that I'm focused, but other areas that you would almost think are not correlated, but they are. Guys, our entire lives are intertwined. So many men talk about these hats. I'm wearing all these different hats. I got my boss hat on. I got my employee hat. I'm a dad. I'm a father. I've got this charitable organization I belong to, and I'm coaching youth sports. And we take one hat off and put another hat on. There's no hats, guys. There's only one hat. It's your life. And if you're a different guy in every facet of life in which you show up, that's exhausting and it's disingenuous. And it's not going to help you translate that belief in yourself or in one area over to other facets of your life. So how do you develop belief? You do things that you did not previously think yourself capable of. Now, here's what I see a lot of guys do. And they don't always say this, but here's what they'll do. They'll have an idea in their mind about what they quote unquote should be doing. You can take the gym or the finances or their relationship or their business or whatever, what they should be doing. And what they see is this huge disparity between where they are right now and where they'd like to be. And they have this gap. I call it the integrity gap. It's what you know versus what you do. And the greater the gap, the more discouraged a man's going to be and depressed. I've been there and down, and it's a hard place to be. And the wider that gap, the harder it is to see yourself ever bridging that gap. If it's a short gap, like you think to yourself, I really just want to lose 5 pounds. Okay, well, that's manageable. That's not going to be overwhelming. You're going to move towards that. If on the other hand, you think, I got to lose 50 pounds. Okay, that's a little bit tougher. That's going to take time. That's going to take commitment. It's going to take effort. It's going to take some ups and downs and learning some lessons and some hardships and being disciplined and committed to that thing that you want to do. And so when men see these wide gaps, what they think is, I'll never be there. And they get discouraged and they throw in the towel before they even start. So the way that you combat that is, instead of looking at the 50 pounds, you think, I'm going to lose 5 pounds in the next 2 weeks. That's it. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to lock my diet in. I'm going to get my sleep. I'm going to get my recovery. I'm going to potentially hire a coach. I'm going to lock that in. And in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to lose 5 pounds. That's it. You don't need to look any further than that. Then when that 2 weeks comes, you do it again. Hey, this week, I'm going to lose another 5 pounds or 7 pounds or 3 pounds or whatever. You make your adjustments. But the way that you can develop belief in yourself for these big, lofty, audacious goals is to break it down to smaller, more manageable actions. I'm not even going to say goals, actions that you can take on a daily basis. And then when you wake up this morning without hitting the snooze button like you do every other day, that's a little bit of boost to the belief in yourself. Oh man, maybe I can do this. When there's a big brownie that your wife cooked on the counter, or one of your children is having a birthday party and there's cake and ice cream, and you're disciplined enough to say, I'm not going to have that, and you don't partake, you build up one little block of belief in yourself that you can actually do this thing. It isn't magic. There aren't men out there who are just naturally better at this or more confident or just have everything handed to them. I know that I'm going to lead a lot of men who say, well, no, that's the case. That actually happens. Yeah, I mean, there might be some exceptions. Sure. There's a series of fortunate events that people fall upon, of course. But it isn't the case for most people. See, all the guys that I've talked with who are hyper successful, for example, on this podcast, everybody says, I want to hear from normal guys, regular guys. These are all regular guys who over the past 10, 20, 30, 40 years have done little things, taken little actions consistently, day by day, and built up enough belief in themselves that at some point through that consistent effort, they become this guy that everybody else looks at and says, man, I wish I could have what he has. You can. You can. It isn't manufactured. It isn't disingenuous. I can tell you from experience. I've had, 360 guys now that I've interviewed, somewhere right around there. I'm telling you from experience that these are men who have overcome tremendous odds and hardships and challenges, and they've had their own shares of ups and downs and a roller coaster and failures and setbacks and victories and successes, and they're regular guys. But what's not regular about them is they're willing to invest in themselves. Now, here's one other thing I hear a lot is guys will say, well, like my wife doesn't believe in me. She doesn't support me. Nobody supports me. I'm all alone. Now, nobody supports me. My boss doesn't believe me. My wife, well, first, why should they? I mean, what reason do they have? Second, you're not obligated, or I should say they're not obligated to believe in you, and you're not entitled to their belief in you. But you shouldn't need that. All right, it's nice. If your wife believes in you, that's a good thing, I think. That would be nice. If your boss or your coworkers or your teammates or your whoever, your friends believe in you, that's nice. But we get it so backwards. What we think is that the only way that I can improve and excel and move forward is if other people believe in me. No, that's not how it works. Because you have to build up the belief in yourself first. And again, that isn't manufactured. It isn't fabricated. It isn't something that's made up. It's not disingenuous because people will see right through it. It's you knowing what you want, formulating a plan to have it, and then actively working towards that plan. You want to know how many people believed in me when I started Order of Man? Nobody. My wife even questioned what I was doing. My in-laws, my mom, my clients, my financial advisory clients, my partners in my financial planning practice. What are you doing, Ryan? Oh, what are you doing? No belief in me. Did I cry and bitch and moan and complain that, nobody supports me? No, I did it anyways. And what gave me the faith to do it? Well, I had another podcast and it was fairly successful. And I started a couple other businesses that were fairly successful. And I knew that if I could do it there, I could certainly do it here. So I drew upon other experiences to create what you have in front of you and in your earbuds right now. So if you want people to believe in you, again, that's a nice thing, then you believe in yourself. And more importantly than that, do the work. And what ends up happening is more and more people believe in you. And then it's just like fuel to the fire. But the fire's on you. You got to start your own fire. Guys, figure out what you want. Make commitments to yourself. Be disciplined. And I'll tell you when it counts the most. It always counts, by the way. If you do the work, it counts. But I'll tell you where I think it counts the most. It's when you don't want to do it. If you want to go to the gym and you feel good about that, it still counts. It's still important. But it doesn't count as much as the days that you don't want to go. Because it's not just about building muscle or losing weight or whatever your goal is. It's about your mindset. And when you feel good about it and you go do it, it's not going to do as much for your mind as if you feel shitty about doing it and yet you still go do it. So know what you want. Have a plan. Have a system in place. Act it out. Small steps, gradual steps. Look at what has happened in the past. Hire coaches and mentors that can show you the path and give you tools and insight and direction that you wouldn't normally have. Have faith. I want to talk about belief in yourself. Where's your level of faith? What have you done in the past? Because we've all done good in the past. Like there's things that we've gotten right. You have gotten right. I've gotten right. Of course, there's things we've all gotten wrong, but there's things that you've gotten right. What are they? What are your strengths? Where do you thrive? Where do you excel? How did it make you feel when you were doing that? When you were engaged in those strengths and those activities where you were thriving and doing well? Draw upon that as fuel to be able to push yourself into new environments. Guys, you can do it. I want you to do it. And society needs you to do it, by the way. You know, we talk a lot about ourselves and how to improve ourselves, and it's very, very important. But we're in this cultural climate right now where people need us to do things, to step up, to lead, to be bold and courageous and assertive, to be capable. You know, men are portrayed as the bumbling buffoons, and they're put up on a mantle or up on the wall that says, you know, in case of emergency, break here, break glass here. That's how men are looked at best. At worst, we're looked at as either unnecessary or a detriment to the greater good of society. And it isn't lost on me or any wonder to me why we see a completely degenerate culture and society, the breakdown of the nuclear family, the breakdown of traditional values, the breakdown of personal responsibility and accountability. We're seeing crime rates, we're seeing drug abuse, we're seeing suicide and depression. People need you, guys. But you can't be there for them if you don't have enough belief in yourself. And it isn't just some magical fairy wand that I wave over your head and say, you can do this. Because that's what you're going to hear on a lot of other podcasts. You can do it. Believe in yourself. You're special. And then deep down inside, you know you aren't. You know, you wake up and you listen to this motivational podcast and they say you're special. And you're like, man, I feel good for like 5 minutes before reality smacks you in the teeth and says, no, you're not doing what you should be doing. You know that. So it's not about the motivation. It's not about the fluffy fairy tale stuff. It's about putting in the work, going into the grind, doing it when you don't want to do it. And you're going to feel better. And you're going to develop confidence and belief and faith in yourself. And as you begin to do that, your people, your family, your wife, your kids, your neighbors, your teammates, your employees, your employers, your clients, your people are going to see it, and they're going to be positively impacted by it. And isn't that what we want? You know, there's a big movement of men who think that they can just completely disengage from society and the world is out to get them and screw everything and screw off to everybody. But that's not you. You want to be valuable. You want to be of service to other people. You want to lead effectively. It says it right here on my hat. Protect, provide, preside. You want to do those things. You want to protect others. You want to provide where you can for yourself, your family, and those less fortunate than you. You want to lead. That's preside. You want to lead effectively. You want to lead and help people get to a place they could not have imagined going on their own. But it starts here. It starts in the belief in yourself. It starts with knowing what you want, formulating a plan, coming up with a set of strategies or tactics that you can employ, and then doing it. And then there's one last point to that, to actually go back and review and say, you know, I did pretty good today. And you should do that, by the way. You should feel good about your wins. You should feel good when you thrive. You should feel good and be proud of succeeding. People don't want you to be proud. Oh, don't be proud. Well, yeah, there's excessive pride and arrogance and ego that'll get you into trouble. But then there's pride in yourself, which is what we're talking about. How much do you believe in yourself? I'm a proud person. I think that's different than being prideful, right? Prideful, not full of pride, but proud of what I've done. And I believe in what I can do. And I prove it to myself and other people every single day. And that's what it's going to take. So guys, think about that this weekend. Maybe you're doing some chores around the house right now. Maybe you're on a run. Maybe you're, driving home from work and you're listening to this podcast. I want you to just turn everything off. Hit stop, hit pause, whatever. Don't listen to another podcast. Turn the music down and just ask yourself, how much do I believe in myself? Really, like how much? Are you willing to put your money where your mouth is? Are you willing to take that risk that you've always wanted to take? Are you willing to start that business? Are you willing to ask that woman if she'll marry you? Are you willing to ask for a promotion or take on an assignment at work or do something challenging and scary? Are you? If you are, then maybe you do have some belief in yourself. But if there's any sort of passivity in that or timidness or I won't do that, then you don't believe in yourself enough and you got work to do. And it's okay. It's good. The first step is to recognize and acknowledge that it's there, because if you don't acknowledge it, nothing you can do about it. I want you to do something about it. You can do something about it, but it requires effort, it requires work. So get after it. Think about that this weekend. Let me know what you think about this podcast, not just this podcast, but this conversation in general, if this serves and helps you. If you have other ideas and thoughts, hit me up on Instagram. That's where I'm most active, on Instagram, at Ryan Michler, Michler as my last name. So at Ryan Michler. And I try to answer as many direct messages as I can. It's becoming increasingly difficult, admittedly, but I do try to be very active with you guys, because this is a community. This is a movement. We're building something here. And I'm glad you're part of it. I'm glad to be part of it. I'm proud of it. So let's get after it. All right, guys. Make it a great weekend. We will catch you on Tuesday of next week. Until then, go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.